We've been talking about cartel a lot, so we're gonna talk about cartel some more. The only difference is that this is gonna be my story, and it's a true story. We're gonna have Ricardo on here one of these days. Let's get into this video.
Drugs, money, mansions, and private jets. A myth is being created around the narco culture. Narco culture has gone mainstream and can be seen in various areas like music, religion, soap operas, fashion, and language. But it's not all the pretty roses people like to see. Join me as I tell you the truth behind cartel life. This is narco culture.
Hey, what's up guys? My name is JC. I am Wrong and Strong. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss nothing. If you're part of my team, mi familia, mi raza, you already know what time it is. Súbanse la suburban. We're about to take a ride. What's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Cartel Life, brought to you by JC from Wrong and Strong. Yeah, I must say that I've had a very, very interesting life. I can't say any different. You know, did I do a lot of bad things? Yeah, I had to survive. I had to make it in a dog-eat-dog world pretty much. And, you know, being on the streets at such a young age, I wanted to make money. I wanted to get ahead. So when I made some of those connects that I made in Michoacan, there was a federal prison in Mazatlan called Islas Marias. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about me talking about them and you know, going there because one of my very, very close friends to this day, you know, was doing 10 years there, and he was my plug. He was my plug to a lot of people over there in Mexico. It was the early 2000s, and I had just got out from another bid, and I needed a plug. I needed money, you know, and I go more into detail on this whole story in my book. But my boy wanted to. He didn't want to finish his time there. And not too many people have escaped that prison, you know, not too many have made it out. That prison is surrounded by warm seawater, so there's sharks in it. I guess the tide is like really high, and it sinks boats. So I flew in. I had to figure out a way to get into the island with me. And when you get there, the Marines are the ones that actually take you to the prison. You know, you gotta set all your bags on the floor. They go through everything. So I figured I would be smarter than them, right? And just, you know, tape the money body. And at the time it sounded like a good idea because all I seen was, you know, them, you know, checking bags. That was it. They weren't really checking people. But I failed to realize that I was the only one that stood out the way I did when I was there. I mean, everybody was ready to ride that boat ride because it's an all-night boat ride into the prison. You know, they were comfortable. Some people were wearing, you know, jogging pants. Some ladies were wearing like long dresses, I guess, so they could like sleep on the floor, and they were dressed for it. And I was dressed like a straight narco. I mean, I had ostrich boots, I cinto piteado, I had a big ass chain on me, and yeah, Versace shirt. Those were the days. Those were the days. You know, those cinto piteados that are made out of real pita, not hilo, not plata, real pita. You know, they go up to 7 grand, 10 grand, depending on what kind you want and how it's made. And I remember standing there, and some little kid was standing next to me, and he looked over to me and he asked me if I was a narco. So he already knew the concept, you know, of that. The Marines came over to me, they checked my bags, and then they started letting everybody into the boat. So I was like, cool, you know, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna do this. The whole purpose was to try and get that money to my boy so he could either live really, really comfortable or try to escape from there, you know, get out of there. Everybody started getting on the boats, and then the Marines surrounded me and asked me to go into office. So I mean, I got a little worried. I was like, what's going on? You know, they knew I was an American, so it was, I had my, you know, my ID and stuff, and it scared me a little bit because over there, I mean, sometimes, you know, the cops, the army, the feds, whatever you want to call it, government, you know, sometimes they'll be the ones robbing you. You know what I mean? Not the cartel, not the gamers. You know, sometimes it's them, and I'm just being honest. You know. So they take me in the office, and I just told them straight up before they even started searching me. I was like, I got dues like for what? And I just gave them the short story, you know, that I owed a little bit of money to somebody there. I really never talked about who I owed the money to until today. This person is no longer here no more. He was murdered actually in Uruapan. I was taking the money to him because I owed the money, and I knew that if I paid that money back, it was gonna be 100 paybacks. You know what I mean? He was gonna set the stage for me. Me going to that island was to make two really big connects, two big ones that, you know, I talk about it in my book, but like I've said it before in the past, like I can talk about this dude now because he's not here no more, but the other person I can't because he's still around, and it's out of respect, man. It's not fear or telling or none of that. It's like out of respect. He took care of me when I was working for him. He took care of me. I was always a loyal, good soldier. I got taken advantage of a lot. I was young, man. I was young, and I was, you know, a young lion. I wanted to get ahead. Like I said, I wanted to be somebody in that world back then. So they found the money. They tell me I can't take all of it. I could take half of it. They tell me you can leave it here in the office, and then when you get back, and I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna be on the island for 2 weeks. You think I'm gonna leave that and then come back and like, oh, it disappeared? So the only thing that saved me that day is that usually what they have is one boat is coming back from the prison and one is leaving. So on the boat coming back, my boy's girlfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call it, he was dating one of the social workers there that worked at the prison. I was able to get a hold of him and, you know, tell her to wait for me so I could, you know, give her the money. So she ended up coming back. I gave her the money, half of it, you know, and I ended up taking. So we load up on the boat. We get on there. I had never been on a boat like that. So once we hit the sea, I didn't realize how like sick it could make you, like dizzy. I was throwing up. Finally, they gave me some medicine, but it was all night and it was freezing. And I remember, you know, I'm over here all dressed up and everything, and I'm freezing like my ass off. And there was these two ladies that were on the left side of mine, and they were with their daughters. And I'm not gonna lie, they were like really, really pretty, but they were like from the rancho, so like long dresses. I don't know if you guys ever been to Los Reyes in Michoacan. Back in the day, it was very, very like, very small town. So a lot of the gente there were like, como inditos, you know what I mean? They would cover up, they would wear the long dresses, just different, a whole different culture, you know what I mean? Just different. But they were beautiful. And I remember they were like, sit down with us so you're not cold. So I sat down and I looked over. It was the most hairiest legs I had ever seen in my life on a woman. But they were nice enough to, you know, give me a blanket, and I laid there with them, and I made some really good friends, honest people, like just good people. Like, yeah, they took care of me that whole night, and it felt good. Once the boat starts riding into the prison, right when the daylight starts to come out, they have the mariachi out there waiting for the boat, and they start singing and the whole thing. And if you guys follow me on social media, there's a picture of me where I'm walking with an orange shirt and I got two big bags, and Ricardo's behind me. That's when I'm getting off in the island and I'm walking in. I was there for 2 weeks, and you know, I was there to, like I said, pay some money that I owed and meet some people, talk to some people about business, because I was already doing decent, but I wanted to do more. I really wanted to do more. So I ended up getting connected with someone that's Rodolfo La Mosca. Yeah, I ended up getting connected with him, and those whole 2 weeks that I was there, all we did was like party. We ate at the restaurant and we were on the beach. Every shrimp, fish, octopus, you name it, fresh from the sea. You know, it was just, I was in shock almost, because you could take your family to live with you to do time there, and the kids will go to school. It was like a town. So the first part of the island was where all the people that lived that had kids and they were married. All the workers, they all lived on the first part of the island. The second part was where all the bachelor guys were at, and then the women. So it was separated, but at the end, every weekend, every party or whatever, they would all come down to the main town and, you know, party, the restaurants, all that stuff. So to me, it was like a shock, because I was like, man, I could do 20 years here like this. You know, you can make money, you could, you know, the coke in that time, 1 gram was 500 pesos. It was a little bit more expensive because it was, you know, the island. But they would give you a house for your family, and the houses were pretty nice. Like, that's what I told my boy, I was like, I could do 20 years here like this. And he's like, well, then you stay and do my time, because I'm done. I wanna get out of here. That whole week, all we did was plan to, you know, do what we had to do and what we were gonna do, how we were gonna transport it from Michoacan all the way up. And for the first mission was to pay the 7 grand that I owed for being a drug addict. I always pay my debts, man. Always try to not owe money. Well, I owe some child support right now, but I'll get there. But I'm always about paying my debts, keeping my word. I always just did what I said I was gonna do. The respect that I got from that guy, it was all planned in my head. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, everything I do all the time, I always look at it as a business. Even back in the day, I would date somebody and I would be like, what am I getting out of it, you know? And one of the biggest reasons why I married that woman from Guadalajara, I'm not gonna say no names or nothing, but it's because I wanted to get into that family. You know, I was moving up the ladder. I was trying to move up the ladder. I just spent so much time gangbanging all the time that it always got me in trouble, and that's the number one thing that a lot of my bosses didn't like. They didn't like that I was always on the street gangbanging, doing stuff, because it would take from my job, and then I would get locked up, and then I would have to start all over again. But like I said, I had that sit down with La Mosca. We talked about numbers, and from that day when I left and I got back to Chicago, I'll never forget that day. I got one phone call. He's like, do you have a van? I was like, yeah, we use one for the restaurant, a white one. He's like, well, just leave it. El Güero's supermarket, it's on Archer. I parked the van, I leave. I come back, I look in the van, and in that moment, I remembered that I was on, you know, federal probation and state probation. And I was like, well, why didn't you think about that when you were flying to Mexico? So I got scared. I didn't want to get in the van. I thought it was like a setup. So I called Cato. And he rolls up in his white Escalade. He's like, what? He looks in the van and he's like, all right, well, let's go. Drive it to the house. And I'm like, I don't want to drive it. He's like, pussy. So he jumped in, started driving, and I started following him. I've talked about it before, but a lot of people probably won't remember. I think I talked about it on my tattoos. There's a couple guys that have the 180 on their arms in Chicago. And you can lie all you want, but I know why you have it, you know? So, yeah. I made 180 grand that night, profit. I mean, Kay did all the work. He got rid of everything for me. He had some people waiting, but 180 grand. From that day on, I felt like I was on top of the world. Like now making the phone calls to Mexico, coming back, and like feeling like the man. Everybody wanted to be my friend. You know, I would see the twins at that nightclub in Chicago where I got set up, and I would see them buying the bottles, and I was like, yeah, now I'm gonna be able to be buying bottles, and it completely changed me, man. I even went and got it tattooed on me, you know, and I started giving work to all my boys. Of course, at the end, they all try to rob me and kill me because money and jealousy is bad. Everybody wants the spotlight. Everybody wants to be the man. That day that I thought that I had like found the answer, you know, the money and how I was gonna live the rest of my life, was actually the biggest curse in my life, because from there I went to one of my best friends that I grew up with robbed me for 10. Then, you know, they wanted their money. They don't care. One of my other boys tried to shoot me in front of my house. And then the setup with the dirty gun. All because of money. All because they wanted all my work. They didn't want me to give it to nobody else, just them. They wanted it all. And I've never really got dudes like that are like that they get mad if you like hang out with other people. You're supposed to just hang out with them. Like, I've never been like that. I've always rode solo, and if I'm doing business, I would do business with whoever I felt comfortable doing business with, you know. It was because I trusted them, because I grew up with them, because I gangbanged with them, that they ended up robbing me, trying to kill me, trying to send me to prison for 63 years. Like I said, what I thought was the biggest blessing ended up being my biggest curse. And you guys know the rest of the story. You know, I ended up leaving Chicago and in a hurry, pretty much, and moving to Phoenix because everybody on the south side was trying to kill me. And I knew for a fact that I wasn't gonna be able to shake it or anything. Everybody knew my face, everybody knew that I had turned king and I was on 26th Street. There was no escaping it. Me getting this work from these dudes in Mexico meant serious business. Like, there was no messing around. No messing around. That's why when I hear all this, you know, stuff about big money, guns, these youngsters, they don't know what they're talking about. I hate to say it, but it ain't what you think it is. But I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. But I don't know nothing. My name's JC. But I don't know nothing. Fast forward, after prison, after drug addiction, after all the beatings, war wounds, stabs, head being bust open, jaw being, you know, broken half, all that stuff, here I am today. You know, a lot of the people that knew me from back then, they look at me, some talk crap, and some actually admire what I'm doing, because I would be the last one they would think that would have made it like this far because of how I was, how I just didn't have nothing to live for back then. And now I found a purpose. My purpose is to try and help as many people understand the story, reading through the lines and actually explaining what really happens, because it's all bad. Today, you know, I'm going to school to be a pastor. I'm going to school to be an actor, my online training business, my clothing line, Wrong Strong, my YouTube channel. It's all coming together, you know, and the biggest part behind the scenes is me rebuilding my relationship with my sisters, my mom, you know, my kids. I got a lot of kids, and there's still one more that I need to find. And it's been hard on me, man, on my conscience. It's been hard on just me in general, you know, thinking that I haven't been there for my kids, because I have 4 girls and 1 boy. Yeah. And like I said on my last video, you know, I've pretty much kindled 3 relationships. I have 2 to go. And it's gonna take time, but I'll get it. And, you know, I have his help, and it's gonna happen. And the biggest thing and my biggest message is this. Don't expect to say, I'm just gonna do this run and that's it. Because that could be your last run. Don't say, well, if I do this, it could just be a quick come up. It's none of those things ever. It's not. I promise you. I promise you. If you do it once, you're gonna do it again. It gets easier. It actually gets easier to become a criminal, because the more you get away with, the more you do. And then you start graduating into bigger crimes. Does that make any sense? And then you're in jail for murder. Chicago's a tough city. It's a really tough city, but Mexico is a monster on its own. And if I was able to survive that, survive Chicago, and survive all the prisons that I've been to, then I'm able to survive this. My name's JC. I am Wrong Strong. Don't judge nobody. Stay in your lane. Live savage. Remember, you only have one life to live, and it goes really fast. Try to live it out here free, without being hooked on drugs, depressed, overweight, sad. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can fix in yourself by just little steps. Little steps. Remember, you didn't completely turn bad overnight. It took time. So just start working on it little by little. I'm nobody to judge you. Nobody should judge you, but you know how the world is. Me, I look at you the same as me. I love you. I'll catch you guys in the rebound.